Hey there guys, it's Hobo525 here, back with another video, and today I'm going to be ranking my top 10 favorite LEGO themes. Throughout my 10 plus years of collecting, I've obtained many different sets from many different themes, and some of those themes have had a huge influence on my stop motions, customs, and my interest in LEGO in general. So without further ado, I present to you guys my top 10 favorite LEGO themes. Now before I begin, I just want to say that this list is my opinion, and if you disagree, that's perfectly fine. We all have our preferences, and these are mine. Now let's get started. Number 10, Ultra Agents. This theme offered many creative and unique sets. A lot of them had awesome builds along with some of the best minifigures I've ever seen. The designs of the characters were so well done and introduced a lot of cool pieces with accessories that really added to the quality of the sets. I never collected all of them, but the sets that I did have were a ton of fun to build and to mess around with. Unfortunately, Ultra Agents only lasted a year and had a 15 set run. The theme was good while it lasted though, and it's definitely something I'd consider to be one of the best. Number 9, Spongebob Squarepants. How couldn't this theme be a good idea? It was based off one of the most popular cartoons of all time, so it was sure to sell, and that it did. To me at least. I freaking loved SpongeBob when I was little, so these sets had me hooked. The builds were really creative and made a lot of references to the classic episodes and the first movie. The minifigure selection was terrific and included all of the main cast and some minor characters too. The reason it's so low on the list is because while the builds were creative, I think some of them, like Patrick's rock or Squidward's house, could have been more accurate to how they looked in the show. Anyways, the theme lasted a whopping 6 years and it definitely had a good run, with many quality builds and minifigures. Oh, and while I was searching for the SpongeBob set images, I found some custom LEGO versions of the old ladies from the episode Chocolate with Nuts. And now I'm mad that they weren't official minifigures.
They're selling chocolate. Chocolate? Yeah! What?
What are they selling? Chocolate! Oh, I didn't see you there. Let's move on to number 8. Number 8, The Simpsons. Another one of my favorite cartoons turned into a LEGO theme, and holy crud, it was a good one. Unfortunately, there were only about 2 Simpsons sets ever made, but both of them look absolutely spot on. They are so accurate to the show and have a fantastic minifigure selection. But what I like most about this theme were the minifigure series blind bags. Every one of them included a great minifig with surprisingly accurate detailing, and it was a cheap way to get these characters without having to buy the sets that were quite expensive. The theme ended up lasting for a little over a year, which is a bit sad because I thought these sets had a lot of potential, and getting some newer ones that wouldn't be so expensive would be nice too. However, we did get a Homer Simpson and Krusty the Clown Brickhead set in 2018, so maybe there's hope for more sets in the future. Number 7, The Lego Movie. This is probably one of the most nostalgic themes on this entire list for me, and for good reason. I remember loving the Lego Movie, and I still adore it to this day, and the sets played a big factor into that. All of the builds were so freaking creative and aesthetically pleasing, especially the 2-in-1 builds that allowed us to rebuild the normal vehicles into weaponized machines. The minifigure selection was very well done too. Most major and minor characters from the movie appeared in a set or blind bag in some way, shape, or form. The minifigs also introduced a plethora of new pieces that I still use to this day. This was just an all-around awesome theme, and it definitely got me, and I'm sure a lot of other kids at the time, hyped for the film. And no, I'm not including the sequel sets here because we don't talk about that film. Number 6, Minecraft. This was such an amazing idea for a LEGO theme. Taking an extremely popular game like Minecraft and combining it with LEGO, pure gold indeed. And to my knowledge, this is a very well liked LEGO theme, and I totally see why. I can't really think of any issues I have with the builds or minifigures in general. They're all marvelous and very accurate to the game. Most of the mobs have been in sets, and I'm happy we get minifigures that aren't just Alex and Steve. These sets are also quite fun to build and have allowed me to really take advantage of my creativity by motivating me to make speed builds and animations of them. All around, LEGO Minecraft is a gem of a theme, and I 100% recommend it if you love the game. Number 5, DC. Now this was one great theme. LEGO DC gave us a ton of really well made sets and brought a lot of awesome characters from the comics in the LEGO form. One of the main reasons this theme is so high up on the list is because of the Batman sets. These builds were so spot on, especially during the hype of the Lego Batman movie. I collected a lot of sets based off the Cape Crusader and not one of them has disappointed me. There were also quite a bit of Justice League sets released that I enjoyed that introduced some creative builds and a huge variety of heroes and villains. The recent blind bags also gave us a lot of new and other versions of the characters as well. This theme had so much to offer and I'm very glad it hasn't lost its touch.
Hey!
Number 4 is Lego City, and this definitely had to show up on the list somewhere. This theme offers a huge variety of sets from Lego Police, Firefighter, Coast Guard, Racing, Jungle, Train, Airport, Astronaut, Arctic, Construction, Housing, and much more. That's what makes this theme great. There are so many different kinds of sets that can probably appeal to most people no matter what their interests are. For example, I used to collect the police sets for the most part, but now my interest is shifting towards some of the racing car sets that have been introduced. So if I get bored of one aspect of the theme, there's always another I can get into. Even though I still consider the police sets to be my favorite out of all the others Lego City has to offer. The builds usually look the best and I love the minifigure selection. A lot of the officers and criminals have really cool designs, which could be said about the majority of minifigs in this theme. A lot of them are so well made and would go great in my collection. I don't really have any issues with this theme, and I applaud it for keeping up its good quality. While I may not collect these sets recreationally anymore, there are still a couple ones that I would love to own. Number 3, Marvel. Yet another nostalgic theme on this list. I've been in love with Marvel since I was very young, and the fact that it collaborated with my favorite toy production company, Lego, was truly fabulous. My first couple of sets were Loki's Cosmic Cube Escape and Wolverine's Chopper Showdown. I have a ton of good memories building and playing with these sets, which really sparked my interest in the Marvel Lego theme in general. Nostalgia aside, these sets gave us a huge variation of heroes and villains, especially with the Spider-Man sets, which is great because Spidey has a ton of enemies, so the fact that we got so much of these sets is fantastic. Most of the sets I collected were MCU related though. I used to be obsessed with collecting all the Avengers minifigures, and I would always be so hyped every time we got set reveals from the films. The builds were mostly fantastic, especially from the Age of Ultron sets. I think those sets have to be my favorite based off any Marvel movie. The minifigures and builds were just out of this world. Now I really haven't collected any Marvel sets in quite some time except the Iron Man Hall of Armor from Endgame, because I'm kind of obsessed with acquiring all of the Lego Iron Man suits. But I'd really like to get back into this theme, considering the new Avengers sets look great. I've actually bought a couple of the newly released mechs, and they have definitely got me interested in more sets. This theme honestly is perfection, and I could go on and on about it all day. Number 2, Ninjago. I mean, where do I even begin with this one? Out of all the entries on this list, Ninjago is without a doubt the most nostalgic. I absolutely loved this show when I was younger, and the sets definitely kept me interested. The builds were so eye-catching and creative. A highlight of this theme for me would definitely be the Fangpyre vehicles. The color and snake-like designs look so cool, and a lot of the builds were fun to play with. They usually came with a lot of the snake minifigs, which were very useful for army building. A lot of the sets from season 2 and 3 of the show were great too, like the Stone Army vehicles were fun to collect along with the Golden Mech set. We also got some quality sets from the Nindroid era, and my god, these vehicles were great. I swear, all the villains in this show had the coolest looking rides. Now I lost interest in the series and the sets around season 4, so I know virtually nothing about the show now. But the newer builds still look really well made, and I'm sure those who still keep up with the show got a kick out of them. But for little me, the older sets really got me interested in collecting Lego, and playing/building with them used to always keep me entertained. Even though I've grown out of the theme, Ninjago will still always hold a strong place in my heart. Number 1, Star Wars. This just had to be at the top spot. I mean, words cannot describe how much I love this theme. A lot of these builds were so well made, and I think Lego has done a great job of giving each of the films and shows justice with the amount of sets we've gotten. A lot of them have phenomenal minifigure selections as well. A prime example of the quality of this theme are the Clone Wars sets. I mean, these are one of a kind. The builds were so accurate to the series, and they included a great number of characters, whether they were major or minor. A lot of these sets also had a ton of clones, which so many people to this day, including me, like to army build with. Speaking of army building, this theme has offered a huge quantity of battle packs, which are great if you want to have a clone army, a stormtrooper army, a rebel army, a resistance army, a Death Watch army. These battle packs have it all. The minifigure quality has also been improving quite a bit in recent years. We've gotten more character accurate molds and some new arm and leg printings, which will hopefully be more common in the future because it really adds to minifigs. And like I said, the builds of this theme have been great. Sets like the Republic Gunship, 501st Battle Pack, the Ghost, and the freaking Death Star are some of my favorite builds, and I am very proud to have them as a part of my collection. I've collected so many sets from this theme over the years, and I 100% wouldn't be into LEGO as much as I am today if it wasn't for this theme, and it's what really got me interested in LEGO to begin with. I have nothing but good memories of LEGO Star Wars, and hopefully I'll be able to make many more in years to come. So that's about it for this list, guys. I do want to thank Wikipedia for providing a wealth of information about these themes, which was very handy when making this list. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and be sure to tell me your favorite LEGO themes down in the comments. And with all that said, Hobo525 out.